All right, guys, we're going to get right into it, man. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says that Trump and his team will likely back out of trying to solve the Ukraine situation due to both sides not complying to any type of ceasefire effort or negotiations. He also mentions, his negotiations with Iran. They're supposed to happen in Italy today. Let's get into this clip really quick.
Was there any discussion yesterday with your European counterparts on any of the Iran negotiations? Are they also sharing the president's vision of Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon?
Well, for the Europeans, they have an important decision to make very soon on snapback, on the snapback of sanctions, because Iran is clearly out of compliance with the current deal. As you saw, the IAEA was in Tehran yesterday, issued public statements saying Iran is as close as it's ever been to nuclear weapons. The president's made clear Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. That is not going to happen. We're hoping that talks continue and that they're fruitful and that they can lead to something. We would all prefer a peaceful resolution and a lasting one. It has to be something that actually not just prevents Iran from having a nuclear weapon now, but in the future as well, not just for 10 years with some sort of sunset provision or the like. So we discussed that, obviously.
Yeah, this is why the whole nuclear situation with Iran is really a scam, because they've been saying that Iran is a week away from a nuclear bomb since for 9 years already, right? Netanyahu addressed the UN 9 years ago, claiming that Iran was 2 months away from a nuclear grade bomb. And the situation is, it's really an excuse to just drag the United States into a war with Iran, because they're getting more powerful militarily, right? And they're sort of, the scale of balance of power in the region is not so where Israel's the dominant force in the Middle East. Now you have a superpower like Iran, right? And their whole mission is to degrade Iran. And it's not about, them having a nuclear weapon, say so. It's more so about them being the only colony, let's call them a colony, American colony, that has a nuclear weapon in the entire region, right? So this whole situation with Iran having a nuclear, they've been saying that for years, guys. It's a scam. They just want to make sure that they're the only ones with nuclear weapons in the Middle East, because they know if Iran gets it, several other countries are going to get it. They know that Iran could get it within months, and I've even heard that they currently have something even worse than a nuclear bomb, which is, it's more like of a plasma bomb type situation, which causes the same amount of destruction without the radiation, right? So they're not concerned about Iran having a nuclear weapon. This is an excuse to go to war.
Because the Europeans, the E3, have a decision to make on snapback. Because I believe we should all anticipate, based on the public comments yesterday, that they're about to get a report from the IAEA that says not just is Iran out of compliance, but Iran is dangerously close to a weapon, closer than they've ever been. And then they're going to have to make a decision about whether they want to reimpose these sanctions. And if Iran is out of compliance, they have to reimpose the sanctions. So that's going to be a factor in all this, and that's why it was important we talked to them about it before our talks on Saturday. All right? Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man, it's the same. It's the same scam they constantly try to use. Here's another situation. So he talks about the whole Ukraine-Russia situation. They're not getting anywhere with Ukraine and Russia, guys. It looks like Trump's going to drop that because the United States really wants to focus all their resources on East Asia and China, right? Because that's the larger looming threat.
The Ukraine war is a terrible thing, but it's not our war. We didn't start it. The United States has been helping Ukraine over the last 3 years, and we want it to end. But it's not our war. I want everyone to understand that. And the reason why I make that point is the president has spent 87 days at the highest level of his government repeatedly taking efforts to bring this war to an end. We are now reaching a point where we need to decide and determine whether this is even possible or not, which is why we're engaging both sides. As you know, Ambassador Witkoff has had not one, not two, but 3 meetings with Vladimir Putin to determine the Russian perspective on this and understand what it would take for them to end it. We've, through General Kellogg, myself, and others, have had repeated engagements with the Ukrainians. So we came here yesterday to sort of begin to talk about more specific outlines of what it might take to end the war. to try to figure out very soon, and I'm talking about a matter of days, not a matter of weeks, whether or not this is a war that can be ended. If it can, we're prepared to do whatever we can to facilitate that and make sure that it happens, that it ends in a durable and just way. If it's not possible, if we're so far apart that this is not going to happen, then I think the president's probably at a point where he's going to say, well, we're done. You know, we'll do what we can on the margins. We'll be ready to help whenever.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like Trump's looking to abandon Ukraine because that's a lose-lose situation for him. Russia's already in a prominent position. They're not going to negotiate anything. Zelensky's not talking to anyone. So it looks like Trump's going to have to abandon Ukraine and the EU in general. So this is going to be an interesting situation here because, you know, America really wants to focus all their resources on East Asia, China. They're looking to become the next global, supreme country in the world, which is China, and it's there's no way of slowing that down, right? And if they take Taiwan, guys, that's a huge hit, right, to the United States, especially since all our semiconductors, a lot of things that power electricity up, iPhones, all that shit comes from Taiwan and that region over there. So yeah, this is getting pretty interesting, guys. So it looks like Trump is looking to abandon Ukraine. Wow. He's going to abandon Ukraine, start a war with Iran, and focus on Iran and China. And really, I don't even think he really wants to start a war with Iran. I think he's being forced. You know, he has a noose around his neck by Netanyahu, so he's being forced to engage with. So I think he's going to try to stall that out as much as possible, guys, because things are really heating up with China. Things are really heating up.